So here we are at the first hour, Courage Hour for Thursday, the 14th of July. Can't believe we're all halfway through July already. So I'd like to open it up for courageous conversations, because that kind of came up in our celebrations today. One of the things that we teach in Fearless Living is how to have those difficult conversations. And even though I have those tools and strategies, it still takes a lot of courage to initiate difficult conversations. So I don't know, what are some of the things that give you the courage to do that? And like Beck said, there's some lightness or some relief, regardless of the outcome of the conversation after you have the courage to do so. So I want to just kind of open that up. Maybe we can support each other in that act of courage.
I guess mine is just, I've been settling for everybody else for a long time, and it's like really now deep, it's affecting everything. So I need to have the courage to do the uncomfortable and the scary shit to grow and to be able to show up more as myself. And it's not only not fair to me, but it's not fair to the others that are around me, that I'm not being, like myself around.
Yeah.
And after the She Is event in this week, and actually right before it, on the beginning of the other hour, I was told by someone to do some soul searching, and like that it was a higher up at work. So I think that it's kind of like everything is coming to, and to have the courage to keep going and not go backwards and just cave and crumble to what everybody else expects and wants me to do.
Yeah. I can resonate with that for sure.
Yeah, I think that for the courage to have conversations that we know are going to be difficult, I find that my track record tends to be like when it's absolutely needed. Like there is no other choice. Like the bridge, and it's strong to say the bridge is burned, right? Like, but Jenna's saying like there's no going back. I think of TGR. Think and Grow Rich, they talk about burning bridges, and which is like you just don't go back, right? When you make the decision to have a tough conversation, or to start something new, or to go in a direction that you haven't been before, whatever that is, it's really that the relief is that you're not sitting there, right? And versus sitting there and wondering about, well, what if this happens and what if this doesn't happen? You move in a direction. When you start a conversation, it's the simple act of starting it that I think sometimes really holds people back, at least in my experience. We see little things, we hear little things, we get little nudges and breadcrumbs, and we're like, it's just that little thing. It'll be, it'll pass, or whatever that is. But that's how we and that's how it ends up building up if we don't have conversations when we feel we need to.
Yeah.
I remember a conversation, I don't know, Beck, if you're the person that I had a conversation with about this, but somebody asked me, and I think it's you, because typically you're the person that I dig deep with when we're just hanging out. And I was asked if I have a harder time getting started or finishing. And, I never used to be the person that had a hard time getting started. I mean, like I had doubts, but then I would just jump and do it and trust. And I can tell that I'm at a different point in life. And I think it's because now I have this little person that watches and listens. And I'm finding now that I reroute too many times before I even get close to the finish line, because of other things that people have told me or like influenced and things like that. And it's just interesting. Like I've been starting all these things, and now I'm like, okay, I've started a couple things that really need to get finished. And it's timing also with that 75 hard. Like I kind of feel like that's the push to get discipline. We need that self-discipline, and part of it is too, is I don't take enough time for myself to be able to finish those difficult things that I want to, because I get so distracted because I'm a giver and a lover and an empath, and I like to help everyone else, but it's my turn to finish what I started. So having the courage to demand that space and the time to like follow through and really do it, you know, and make sure that I had the right support and the right tools to finish.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes I hesitate beginning, starting, you're talking about starting and finishing. It's that I'll be sitting there. I can remember I just did this with my daughter when we were driving up to Park City last week. And I knew I wanted to talk to her about something, that was really important to me. And yet I sat there and I, like you're saying, Beck, I'd get these little nudges, oh, that would be a moment to start that. That would be a that's an opening. And yet I would hesitate because of the fear of her either feeling attacked or me being rejected or whatever the fear is that keeps us from having the courage to do those hard conversations. And it was interesting that I finally said, I just finally did it. Open the conversation with I'd like to talk about this, or how do you feel about that? And then I just listened. And normally, because it's my children, I want to talk, but instead I just really listened, and I got a whole new perspective. This is my oldest daughter who has a real problem with my third daughter, and they have just cut each other out of their lives, and that just hurts me. And I got a whole new perspective because I just listened. And for some reason that really helped. Now, the next time I want to bridge this conversation with her, it's going to be from a totally different perspective because I listened instead of, wanting to get my point across and my disappointment and, the feelings I had. I just listened, and it was really a useful conversation, a new way for me to be courageous, have the courage to shut my mouth. Yeah. Well, we're over time. Thank you, ladies. I'll see you back here. Good luck with your intentions, and I'll see you back here at 10 till the hour.
Hey, Terry, we're still recording.
How do difficult conversations support us in giving us relief and moving forward? And what are some of the things that hold us back from having the courage to have those difficult conversations that, we're just tied up with emotionally as well as intellectually?
Well, and of course, something that, holds people back or holds someone back from having some of those conversations is not wanting to offend somebody, not wanting to hurt somebody's feelings, not wanting to be judged by somebody else. It's not only, thinking about the other person, it's also thinking about yourself, not to be selfish, but thinking about yourself, like, if I have this conversation, how am I going to be viewed?
Well, yeah. And the fear of being rejected,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, the fear of just upsetting status quo, because I think for me, my most difficult conversations are with people I really care about.
Of course. Yeah. That's going to be the worst one.
My family or the people I work with on a close basis, where boundaries have been crossed or misunderstandings, and wanting to get that out in the open and take care of it. But sometimes it backfires. And because we have those things happen, fear tells us, don't go there, don't do that, because look what happened last time, or, so it takes a lot of courage to step up and have those conversations that we're emotionally invested.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
I shared that I had a conversation with one of my daughters, not Kelly, one of my other daughters. We drove up to Park City a week ago for our coaching retreat, and my daughter went with us because she went to an energy retreat that was going on in Salt Lake. And I've been wanting to have a conversation with her for years. And I've sort of bridged it a couple times. She and one of my other daughters, her sisters, have had kind of like this falling out where they didn't talk to each other for a while. And it's just a real tense situation. And
Yeah, I can completely understand family fallout. So I'm right there. I understand that one.
yeah, so it hurts me to see them not supporting each other like they used to, because they used to be like super, super, super close. And a lot of things happened. I understand that. But to me, my perception is this daughter was being stubborn and
Right.
the other daughter was reaching out. Well, I bridged the topic. I mean, I thought about it for probably 100 miles before I opened my mouth and just went for it. And then I just sat back and listened, which is not my normal MO either, because normally with my kids, I want to fix everything, right?
Of course.
Listened, and I got a totally different perspective of what was going on. She's not being stubborn. It was completely something else. So it opened my eyes.
Oh,
Not that
okay.
I feel like they're going to get any closer, but no longer, I think I was judging her, that she was the cause of this, because
And it
they
turns out it really isn't. It's something totally
it's
different.
something totally different. And I mean,
Okay.
they'll come together, they don't don't have animosity, open animosity towards each other when we're together, because once a year we have a girls thing and it's coming up in July, and the kids take me to the coast and treat me really beautifully for Mother's Day. And
Aw, fun.
that's coming up. So that kind of was part of my reasoning for wanting to have this
Like,
conversation.
is there going to be a problem, or is there going to be tension on our trip, on this beautiful trip that I take with my daughters?
Yeah, and they were great
Right.
last year. They were great. I know that tension is there.
Mhm.
And so I'm over sensitive, I guess, to the things they say to each other. So it's going to
Right.
help me relieve that, because
Oh,
I was
good.
willing to open the topic, and then I had the courage to keep my mouth shut.
Right. And your daughter may have been looking for that open, or that chance to tell her side or tell her story.
Yeah, truly. Because she said, well, one of my other daughters, Heather, and her husband, Manuel, and then another one of my kids had I'll talk to her about her being the, why don't you step up and mend this, So she was getting it from more than just me, which then really
Right.
also opened my eyes that, she's been getting bombarded with this, because this has been going on for 5 years. And, so anyway, there's some relief. I still in my heart of hearts would like for them to have that kind of friendship again, but I have no control over that. And but I feel like Shay feels she was heard, and that's going to that'll open up a better communication between she and I, because she felt heard.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right.
It never ends. I mean, she's 52 years old, and I still have, I still feel like the mom of a baby.
Right.
Yeah. So difficult conversations. Great courage.
Right. Yeah, very good courage.
Yeah. So you have guests coming up this weekend, right?
No, they're here. My mom